Hello and welcome to Unprofessional Engineering. My name is James.
And you got Luke.
Luke, we're going to continue our Amazing Inventor series today, and we are going to be talking about Leonardo DiCaprio.
Sweet.
He is actually...
Titanic was amazing.
He invented the Titanic, and although it sank, and that big gem went down with it...
Stop. It's not Leonardo DiCaprio. Let's get serious now, James.
Who is it?
Da Vinci.
Da Vinci, the other one, the other Leonardo.
Yeah, the other Leonardo.
After the turtle.
I was just going to say, after the turtle.
Man,
of course.
He was always the worst turtle, right?
It was the worst turtle.
It was Michelangelo,
he was way...
Raphael, Donatello, then Leonardo.
Which one liked the pizza a lot?
Michelangelo.
Michelangelo
Which is why he's the best.
Yeah. He is definitely the best, for sure.
Anyways, Da Vinci, born in 1452. That's a long time ago.
Yeah, I didn't know dates went back that far.
Yeah, and it's funny, we're talking about him as the inventor and the engineer, but he's famous for his paintings like the Mona Lisa and the Last Supper. Yeah. Have you ever seen the Mona Lisa?
I have.
Like in person?
Oh, no, but I think you have, haven't you?
Well, I have not because the line's redonkulous.
But you were there.
But I was there, and I'm told it's super underwhelming. Like, you wait in this giant line, and you get up there, and it's this tiny picture. And it looks just like you saw on TV.
Yeah, and like you could see it on the... And I heard it's the highest insured painting ever. Guinness Book World Record.
Yeah?
$100 million insurance policy on a painting.
That's pretty good.
That's crazy.
I mean, I'm pretty good at the arts, but
I
don't think I have anything that
high. I'm not sure
high.
I'd agree with that, but...
So anyways, at 14, this cat got shipped off to Florence to learn from some other guy, a skilled artist. And while he was there, he learned all sorts of other things, like drafting and construction and plaster work and chemistry and metallurgy. Because what artist doesn't need to know all of these things?
Yeah, the interesting thing is, I think back then, the separation between art and science was different than it is now. Like now, there's clearly a difference between a person that's an artist and a person that's a scientist. And I think because science was so, underdeveloped or new back then, the specific sciences, I think people that were artists kind of went across what you would consider into science fields back then.
Sure. I think there was a little bit of a divide, but their science was based a lot more on observation at times, and
almost exclusively observational.
Artists were, pretty good at that.
Great observationists.
So they overlapped, like you're saying. So in addition to being a great artist, here's just a few of the other areas that he dabbled in: engineering, both civil and mechanical, chemistry, geology, geometry, hydrodynamics, mathematics, optics, physics. And others.
Oh, I did see that. He did something with light.
Yeah, especially with his paintings, but he did some other invention with it too.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, but I mean, I can barely do engineering, and this guy's doing all of this while painting the Mona Lisa as well.
And the other thing too that I thought that was really interesting about him is this was all completely... Like, I think a lot of it was, like, on-the-job training. So this guy was,
on-the-job training.
This guy was, like, the original apprentice, right? I don't think, if you looked at his education, I don't think he had any formal education in any of this. This was all about just doing it and trying it and learning from, being an apprentice to someone that knows what they're doing.
I like that I very much follow my notes and have them ordered in a way that I think is logical. Yeah. And you're just kind of like... Yeah, I remember this, and that's actually the next thing on my notes.
Because you and I are so in sync, buddy.
Is that what we are?
We're in sync.
Do you know In Sync?
Justin
Timberlake?
Stop.
Okay, anyways. So anyway, artsy kind of guy, right? That's what we were saying. And you said that science and art kind of overlapped.
You got it.
But since he was never formally trained in mathematics and didn't attend university or anything like that, the scientific community pretty much ignored his findings. Like, they'd be like, he's not one of us. He doesn't know these things. And so they'd ignore a lot of his theories and discoveries.
I can feel his pain because I feel like the scientific community has ignored me as well.
I know I ignore you a lot. So pretty much if you say something, I'm like, well, that's probably not true.
Or it's wrong.
Or, most likely wrong.
Yeah.
So a lot of his work that he's working on, very theoretical, I noticed.
Yes.
Way ahead of its time, very theoretical.
It's theoretical to the point where if you look, and I think we're going to talk later on about some of his specific inventions, but most of his stuff was never ever built. It was all just a drawing that he made, and it was an idea. Very rarely did one of his, especially on the engineering side of things, very rarely did his stuff get made.
I feel like you're stealing my thunder here a little bit.
Sorry.
Because I just want to, as we seem to be doing a lot with our inventors, we're just going to kind of dog on the guy, where it's like, he did this, but it wasn't good. He did this, but it wasn't good.
No, he did do some amazing stuff.
He did.
I saw
We'll get to them.
Some. Well, I'll wait. I'll see where you want to go next.
Thanks, I appreciate it. What I want to go to next is super awesome.
Okay.
And by super awesome, I mean disgusting and creepy. And that's as
is
his...
this the bodies?
It is the bodies. All the bodies.
It was weird.
Yeah. As his art became more successful, he got permission to start dissecting people. So,
do you know how many he did?
30. I saw 30 bodies he dissected.
And that's what, and I read that they were rumors. So those were the 30 he got permission. I read rumors that he would literally rob graves of like newly buried people, and he would use them for dissection as well. So the 30 is like the stuff he got permission for.
Right.
He probably did way more than that, I would imagine.
Yeah, I've heard that in the past. I didn't see it when I was looking stuff up for this, but I've heard that in the past. So I feel like it must be true.
But it's pretty crazy if you've ever seen the pictures. So those of you out there in the interwebs, if you just Google, Leonardo da Vinci and, either autopsy or human figure or something like that, you can tell the artistic side really kicked in when he was doing these, super detailed drawings of the human anatomy. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, he teamed up with another guy. He did over 200 drawings
I didn't realize it was that
different
many.
Bits of the humans. So
I saw the skull.
Yeah, there was a big focus on the skull and the
I saw a
spine.
woman's womb with like a baby inside of it. It was crazy, the stuff that he did.
And very, the attention to detail, the art, like you're saying, was really prevalent in that.
Had to be gross, though.
He's a weird dude.
He was very
weird thing about the drawings, though, they were only published in 1680. And since we said he died in 1519...
That's about 100 years or so,
100,
right?
160 plus years, 161 or something like that.
My math's not that good.
Again, barely engineer, so... in addition to chopping up humans, he also liked to chop up animals.
He did.
Cows, birds, poor little monkeys. I assume they were dead, I don't know. And frogs. And he would use those to, compare the insides of animals and the insides of people and... how do they tie together?
It would probably explain why some of his figures, like when he drew the Mona Lisa and all these other, artistic drawings and paintings he did, he understood what the underlying muscles looked like and the skeleton. And
sure.
So I'm sure that all that dissection work he did probably helped him with just his general artwork.
Like human structure as he's painting it. Yeah.
So I think whenever you study art nowadays, you actually do a whole, series of, human structure and anatomy and muscles, and I'm guessing they do.
Fun fact for you?
Oh, I love fun facts.
The first C I ever got in school was in art class.
Ooh.
That is the kind of talent I have.
The first, I would love to have gotten a C.
Yeah, you were not good at stuff.
In general.
In life. All right, a few more things about our friend
Let me hear it.
Da Vinci. He got credit as a botanist, even though it looked to me like he was mostly just doodling pictures of plants.
Yeah.
But, you can say whatever you want. He was a cartographer as well, and he started by mapping out town plans and layouts of towns.
Highly accurate, by the way.
Super accurate, and he was doing it by pacing things off. That was his measurement, was pacing.
Yeah. So, quick thing, I did like one civil class at one point, and they actually use pacing for, just general roundabout measurements. So you basically figure out what your gait is, and you can actually just count your paces and get pretty accurate measurements as long as you have a nice consistent gait, even over rough terrain. So I imagine that, he probably figured out how long one pace was, measured it accurately. I've seen some of the pictures of the cartography that he did.
Looks pretty good?
It looked pretty good.
Yeah. Well, that gig turned into a military engineering gig.
I saw that.
Which is weird because he's a pacifist, I'm told. So,
Yeah.
whatever.
And he made inventions that were like war machines too, which
he
I
did.
thought was odd.
Yes, and one more thing. He wasn't a flat earther. So I don't know why flat earthers are like a big thing on the internets these days, but I
Yeah.
feel like it's all over the place. Like
It is.
flat earth and cats, if it was a flat earth, they'd knock everything off the
So
edge by now.
I know a guy.
I don't get it.
I know a guy that's a flat earther.
Okay.
And I've had a few conversations with him, and no offense to our flat earther audience.
Yeah,
but they,
that's fine.
They got some pretty crazy theories.
Yeah, if you're a flat earther, let us know about your theories.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
We could do a whole episode on that.
Oh my goodness.
Anyways.
Episode idea.
He thought the earth was round.
Gotcha.
The last thing I'm going to say, he has that painting of the guy, the Vitruvian man.
Yep.
It's like the arms and the circles, and he's naked.
And
I
his
don't get
bits
it.
are out.
And his bits are hanging out for the world to see. I don't understand.
I think what that was meant
That's
to be,
art or science.
well,
or
I think it was
something.
meant to be a combination of, I think science and documenting the human form, but also art, because
Right.
obviously it was a very, it was a very accurate drawing.
I'm going to put this out there. I don't know much about appreciating art.
I don't either.
Yeah. Unless it's like looks like me or something, I don't get it.
Yeah, I'm more of like a photograph kind of like.
Yeah.
I like sunsets and scenery kind of.
I'm more of
photos.
like a Snapchat filter kind of guy. So with that, let's take a break, okay?
Okay.
And we're going to take a break for a word from our sponsors.
And
This week, we do not have any sponsors again this week.
Darn it.
Yeah, but we did, interestingly enough, get a shout out from a nice guy, Tony, who offered up 2 ideas for episodes.
Let me hear him.
I don't remember what it was. One is the
You were
big
clearly
plane
prepared.
from Nick Fury's plane.
Oh, from
Marvel,
the Avengers.
Shield. Yeah.
The heliport.
Hella thing.
Helicarrier.
So that was one we could
Helicarrier.
explain. There
Yep.
you go. How that thing would work. And then another one was the world's largest building that never was built. But he offered to sponsor us for 10 smackers per episode if we do those.
He makes that 10,000, we're in.
That's right. Maybe 10 would do. I
Maybe.
told him if you want to send it, we could like frame it and be like our first money. I thought that would be cool. And then
I don't know if we could do a whole episode, but we can definitely incorporate those into other episodes.
I agree.
Because fictitious things are really tough to.
This is true.
What you and I both found is, whenever it's something that doesn't have a big wiki page for us to steal from, it makes it difficult. So we can definitely incorporate it into some other stuff.
And then another shout out for our friends at CAD Noobs. As always,
CAD Noobs.
Wrote in many times. A lot of great ideas, a lot of great content for me to post on the Facebooks. And go check out their podcast, CAD Noobs. They're all about the CAD, if you couldn't figure that one out.
Yes.
But they're not noobs, but maybe they are.
I think it's for noobs. Like
for
they're
noobs.
good at it, and they're helping people who aren't good
Those
at
are
it
nice
be
people,
better.
unlike us who are not good at it and not helping anyone. Anyways, we do need to say, because we usually forget this, please subscribe to our podcast. I was reading online that if you ask everyone to subscribe, they will. So subscribe.
Yeah.
Also, please write reviews on iTunes. Tell everyone how great we are. We have 5 stars for a reason, because we're funny and good looking.
And even if you subscribe and don't listen, just subscribe.
Yeah, that's fine too. We don't care.
Yeah, one time, subscribe, just
We're
send the notifications to junk mail. You can make a rule.
Exactly.
Never have to listen to us again, but
If
we get to subscribe.
If you do subscribe, email us at unprofessionalengineering@gmail.com. We'll send you some great stickers, or don't do that. Either way.
Either way.
But anyways, let's move on to some
Yes.
great inventions of our friend
Yes.
DiCaprio.
No?
Still not.
Yeah.
So do you want to go? You want to run with an invention here, or do you want me to?
You can, and I'll just kind of banter, because you definitely prepared way more for this than I did.
Okay.
I have some quotes at the end that I want to share.
Ooh, I like that. All right, first one, straight down a website that I found. The anemometer. This thing is used to measure.
I didn't see this one.
It's used to measure the speed of wind.
Okay.
And ideally, in his brain, it was to eventually give people insight into the speed and direction of wind before flight. So to help people prepare for flight. So that's pretty interesting, I thought, that he was thinking that far ahead. Let's see. So he didn't actually invent the device, because that's kind of the trend with him. But he helped out an existing one and made it better so that it was easier to measure wind force. That's it. That's about it for that. Though he did say on a sketch, he had like little notes that was like, for measuring distance traversed per hour with the force of the wind. And then he had a clock showing there for time, because you need to have time to figure that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of neat.
Yeah. I think that a lot of his stuff, and I mentioned this earlier, that he drew a lot of this but didn't make a lot of it.
Yep.
I feel like, and what I found was a lot of these, BBC does all these crazy documentaries where they'll take one of Leo's inventions and they'll try to make it, and it never works.
Right.
So I feel like his is just pure theoretical stuff in most cases.
Which makes me think maybe we give him a little too much credit, and we're like, okay, he was a great theorist. I get it, and he was forward. He was a futurist or something.
He lacked execution.
But yeah, I would get fired for his ideas.
Yeah.
Next, his most famous, I suppose, the flying machine.
Now this one was probably the most well developed from what I could tell.
I liked it because, well, I don't know about that. I liked it because it was called the Ornithopter as well, and I think that's a pretty cool name.
That's an awesome name.
Yeah. Had a wingspan over 33 feet long.
Based off of bat wings too, which was interesting.
That is interesting.
He did a little
the structure.
Yeah, the structure and the way, like the veins or the cartilage on a bat wing. If you look at images of it, it actually looks like giant bat wings.
Yeah. It was the frame. The wings were made out of pine covered with silk. So, and it was supposed to be like, very light and able to move you around. But it was really weird the way that it worked. So the pilot would have to face down in the center of the thing on a board, and to power the wings, because it wasn't just like an airplane with thrust, it was like kind of flapping, I guess.
It was like bird wings.
Bird wings. He would have to crank a rod and a pulley system, which doesn't really seem to make sense. And the hand crank would increase the energy output, and you would have to use a headpiece for steering. So this sounds really complicated to do. And so as the dude is spinning the crank with his hands and feet, the wings would then flap, and he would take off.
You have to move his head back and forth to turn.
Right.
What if you sneezed? You're just going to crash.
I mean, fortunately not, because while the flying machine might have flown once it was in the air, the person could never have created enough power to get the thing off the ground.
Oh.
So really, you weren't at any risk, because the thing wasn't going to fly anyway.
Now this was truly a flying machine, not a glider.
Well, I guess it sounds like it was more of, it would have actually worked as a glider / flying.
If you had enough elevation.
If you would have been off the ground to begin with.
Gotcha.
But it couldn't take off.
Okay.
So that was interesting.
I like that one.
Yeah. Next, the helicopter, or
I saw this one
better
too.
known as the aerial screw.
Aerial
So let me tell you about aerial screws. Not enough room to make that happen. Bathrooms are tight up there. So anyways, he never actually built or tested the aerial screw.
Okay.
But his notes and drawings mapped out exactly how it would work. Kind of like everything he did. He had lots of notes and drawings, never really put it together.
Okay.
Let's see. 15 feet in diameter, not bad. Made from reed, linen, and wire. You can tell he didn't have a whole lot of materials going on at those times.
Well, this was 14
something, right. And it was powered by 4 men standing on a platform turning cranks, because dude loved people turning cranks. Maybe he was just trying to get everyone exercise. Who knows?
Perhaps.
And with enough rotation, he thought that the invention would then lift you off the ground. But again, due to weight constrictions, modern scientists believe this wouldn't work.
Interesting. The one I liked the most
was
this machine he used for grinding, like convex surfaces. And again, don't know if you ever made it. So imagine like a reflector, like a shield, like the inside of a shield. I don't think he ever made the machine that did this, but he also did some stuff with imagery and drawings where you could only see the image correctly if you viewed it in a convex dome. So it would look all kind of spread out,
it would be all
wonky
otherwise, and then
it's basically those crazy mirrors. There's crazy mirrors at the fun houses, but whenever you convex it, it actually, when you look in that convex mirror, it actually looks like a normal shape. So interesting stuff he did with kind of light and reflection, but he actually has images of these machines. It looks like this, basically, it looks like a grinder that he invented to do that.
That's interesting.
Not sure what the purpose is, but...
Well, I feel like a lot of the things he put together, not so useful.
Yeah.
Another one I liked, because it wasn't all that great, was he invented the parachute. First practical use of the invention actually goes to good old Sebastian Lenormand in 1783. But
Okay.
it turns out that Da Vinci created the parachute. And what was interesting about his is that it was kind of triangular in shape instead of, I guess ours are circular, sort of, or I don't know if circular is the right word, but you know what I mean. And it also was rigid, like it had like twigs in there to keep it.
Twigs?
Probably not twigs.
I heard that they actually tested this. Again, one of these BBC documentaries, they actually made the Da Vinci parachute.
Right, because of course he never made it.
Of course.
Right?
He never made anything.
And it successfully worked then when they tested it?
Yep.
That's cool because they thought that it wasn't going to. And it did. So good for him.
I like that.
So before we move on to the next one, let's take another break for this week's Luke's Terrible Inventions.
Yeah, so this one I just saw the other day, and you gotta love Facebook for serving this stupid stuff up to you. So there's a Facebook page called I'm drawing a blank on it. Something engineering.
Is that what it's called?
It's not us. It's not us. It's not on professional engineering.
Interesting?
Interesting Is that what it is? Interesting
I don't know.
I think it's interesting engineering.
This is going well.
Sorry. But it was basic. You know what a rowing machine is, like.
And the bicycle.
Oh, did you see it?
I did.
So basically, imagine a rowing machine, like your dad used back in the 70s, right? Where you would, to exercise, you would like pretend you were rowing. Put that on wheels, and your mode of propulsion isn't, spinning pedals. It's you actually rowing. And I'm watching a video of these cats driving this thing. Number one, every time you pull and row, the bike is like practically
Wobbling
falling
all
over.
right.
Virtually impossible to steer. And when people put these things together, and I get the mechanical structure that they created, the mechanism to convert the pulling energy into rotational energy to propel the bike, that's pretty interesting and impressive. So I get that. But who is going to do this?
I don't know.
You look like a total idiot.
Oh, you ruined it for me because I was going to end with, but at least you look really cool doing it.
Yeah, no, the exact opposite of that. So
all right.
Horrible, horrible idea.
I think that's a good one.
If I ever saw someone on one of those rowing bikes, I would push them over.
Or hit them with your truck.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't want to hurt them like that bad, but I would definitely push them over.
You want to hurt them, but just not that much.
Yeah, push them over.
Okay, I'm good with that.
I'd put one of Leonardo's sticks in their spoke.
Twigs.
One of his twigs in their spoke.
All right, let's move on to another invention.
Perfect.
What do you say?
I love it.
Do you have one that you have all queued up?
So he had this. It was a vehicle, but I think it was classified as like an armored car or like a war machine.
I saw that. Yeah, that was interesting.
And there were two versions of it. One was basically two guys would be inside of this. This thing looked like a tandoori oven cooker. It was basically a little dome that you would get inside of. Do you ever cook tandoori food?
I don't think
Basically, it's a cone.
Okay.
Check it out. Google it. But two cats would be inside of this, and it was
two
covered.
Cats are actually
no people.
Oh, okay.
When I say cats, I mean people.
Well, you never know.
So you get inside of it. It's all armored, and basically you can, it was again a war machine, which was interesting because, like you said, I thought he was a pacifist. Whenever you kind of look up his views, and in another version, there was a horse inside of it. And you would just kind of walk along and the horse would carry it.
I saw that. I thought that was kind of strange with the horse inside.
Yeah, not sure.
It's interesting that you said he's a pacifist and, you're surprised he's making this. Because I read that someone said that maybe being a pacifist is why it had a major flaw that someone as smart as him couldn't have overlooked. And that maybe he was sabotaging it. Because powering the cranks when in opposite directions, because it could move in all directions, basically, it made forward motion impossible. And they think that this engineering flaw couldn't have passed by him, and that he probably did this to kind of sabotage it so that you couldn't be using it as a war machine.
Interesting. So he was like making this for whoever. They said, "Oh, make us a war machine, Leo," and he was like, "Yeah, I'll make you one," and then it would never work.
I was just watching Star Wars Rogue One, and it's where the dad's like, "Oh, there's one major flaw that I went in there."
That's right.
He's basically Leonardo da Vinci, played by Leonardo DiCaprio.
I'm pretty sure that wasn't Leonardo
that not
DiCaprio
him?
in the movie.
Oh,
No.
I thought he was aging poorly.
Nope.
So my next favorite one, and this one is near and dear to my heart, is the 33-barreled organ. Did you not see
I did
this
not
one?
see this one.
Oh man, this is great.
Like organ, like the...
It's because it looks like an organ. It's a 33 small calibered guns connected together. And the cannons were divided into 3 rows of 11 guns each.
Okay.
So that they'd all be loaded, right? And you'd shoot and 11 shots would go out. And then they would rotate around on like a circle and shoot the next one and rotate around. And by the time they got up higher, they'd be cool enough to reload. And then by the time you'd fire the next one, they'd be ready to go again. So they were light. They were transportable, and they didn't have a lot of downtime. So that was speeding up war.
This reminds me of the potato gun challenge that you and I participated
Exactly.
in. We'll have to load that video up sometime where we totally dominated the other team.
We did.
We did a triple barrel potato gun, all launching at the same, probably the most dangerous thing I've ever done in my life.
It was awesome.
But yeah, we'll upload the video, make sure we put a link to it. But it was absolutely the coolest, shot hundreds of yards.
Yep.
And the other team couldn't even get theirs to light.
One barrel, one measly barrel they couldn't get. Us, boom, triple potatoes.
It was amazing.
It was. That's about the highlight of my life.
We also all could have died if that thing would have exploded.
But at least we would have died together.
Yes.
All right. So that one was really cool. But again, pacifist, maybe not.
So are we done with inventions? I know we're getting close to the end here.
If you have more to talk about, let's see. First, he made a giant crossbow.
I did see that.
It was pretty useless, except it was really big, so it was good for intimidating.
That's what they would have used to shoot down dragons in Game of Thrones.
That is what that's basically what it was, except that was more useful. Or the spear-throwing Iceman. The Colossus, did you read about the Colossus?
No. How did I miss
Someone
all these?
wanted to make a 24-foot bronze statue of this horse. And eventually, after 12 years, he worked out all the kinks to make sure it would be even and it wouldn't crack or have flaws. But conveniently,
didn't make it.
Somebody declared war on their country, and they used that bronze to bribe them. So that never happened. He also made a robotic knight and some other boring stuff. So go ahead. What do you got for me?
So not inventions, but I got a list of quotes that I want to read to you. And I love these quotes.
Okay.
There's a whole bunch of them. I kind of highlighted the ones I like, and don't look at them. I want you to tell me if you like it or don't like it after I say it.
I thought you were going to be like, is this Da Vinci or is this like someone else that said it? Okay.
Okay, so
go ahead.
It has long since come to my attention that people of accomplishment rarely sat back and let things happen to them. They went out and happened to things. Do you like that?
I don't.
Meaning you got to be a go-getter.
Yeah, I feel that felt pretentious to me.
It did.
Yeah.
And maybe it's the language he's using because it's.
Did you like that one?
I like that. I like that they went out and happened to things, meaning I'm doing it.
Maybe I'm more of a sit back and like let things happen around.
Okay, next. It's easier to resist at the beginning than at the end. So I think about this like with work projects where like at the beginning, if I would have been like, yeah, that's a bad idea, and maybe put the kibosh on it, it's really tough whenever you're 30 days in on a project and you're like, hey, boss.
Or if you're 55 days in on
Or
a project.
55 days in on a project.
Yeah.
So I like that one.
I like that one. I don't know if it would work. I feel like if I say no, it still gets ignored.
But
at least once it fails after 30 days,
you have an email.
I feel better.
You have an email. Okay, I got a couple more and then we can wrap it up.
No, we got some time. Go ahead.
A well-spent day brings happy sleep, so a life well spent brings happy death.
Ooh, I like that one.
I knew you'd like the darker one, the happy death.
The happy death, but I think that's good. It's like
you're ready to go.
Yeah,
you've
had a good life. You're ready to go, so you'll have a happy death. I think that's a good one.
And I can honestly say, whenever I have a bad day, I don't sleep well. So
right?
there's definitely some truth to that.
You probably haven't slept well in a long time.
I haven't had at least about 40 days. Okay. Poor is the pupil who does not surpass his master. This is very like Bruce Lee-ish, very
I felt kind of Jedi right there.
Yeah, very Jedi. Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, I feel like we could put that in a movie.
So I have one more, and then
Uh-oh.
you have to pick your best. Okay? And I think I know which one you're gonna pick.
Yeah, I think so.
I have been impressed with the urgency of doing. Knowing is not enough. We must apply. Being willing is not enough. We must do. Now, that sounds like Yoda. We must
I like
do.
that. I like that one. It feels like fail fast forward to me.
And that's definitely our mantra.
That is.
Fail
Fail
a little bit more. So here's the thing. The way quotes go is, which one of these would make the best tattoo? So if I was going to get an arm tattoo, which one of these is the best one?
I feel like you're more of a tramp stamp kind of guy, but am I allowed to say that?
I don't think. We'll edit that out in post.
No, it's fine. Let's see. It's because the one's so long. I like the as a well-spent day brings happy sleep, so whatever, blah, blah, blah.
So a life well spent brings happy death.
That's the one I like the best.
So that's the one. If I was going to get a forearm tattoo in Gothic sands,
yes,
with quotes on it,
that's
and have
the one you're getting.
And have something
Maybe you're getting the
misspelled.
old rib tattoo that everyone has.
No.
No? Well, anyways, that's one I like. Which one do you like? Which
I
one
like
do you want to get tattooed?
poor is the pupil who does not surpass his master.
I feel like I would be poor, though. That's why I don't want that tattooed on me.
You would
That's like
never.
the no regrets tattoo spelled
No
wrong.
regrets.
Yeah. All right, so with that,
This
I
was
think
fun.
that was a fun way to end things.
Yes, it was.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed it as well. I don't see how you couldn't.
Only a little bit of editing and post we have to do here.
No.
Some bleeping.
No, it's all good. Well, maybe a
We've
little.
never had a bleep.
We haven't.
I'm going to add a bleep to that.
Okay. Anyways, email us unprofessionalengineering@gmail.com. Subscribe to us on iTunes or Android or whatever inferior device you use.
Yes.
And subscribe. Did I say subscribe?
You did.
We did. And subscribe again. But don't subscribe and unsubscribe. Just subscribe once.
Stay
That's
on.
all we have.
That's it.
Until
Have a good
next
day.
week. Bye-bye.
See ya.